He was a handsome young man, with a bright future ahead of him, or so it seemed. But beneath the surface, a darkness lurked. A darkness that would soon terrorize a nation. His name was Paul Bernardo, and he would become known as one of Canada's most notorious criminals. It began in the late 1980s in Scarborough, Ontario. A series of sexual assaults shocked the community. The peaceful suburban life was shattered. Young women, walking alone at night, were attacked. They were brutally violated by a stranger. The fear was palpable, and the streets that were once safe became a place of dread. The police were baffled. They had few leads. The assailant was dubbed the Scarborough Rapist. Despite their efforts, the authorities struggled to piece together the identity of the predator. The assaults continued. The fear in Scarborough intensified. Women were afraid to walk alone, and the community was gripped by a sense of helplessness. Who was this predator, and would he ever be caught? The questions loomed large, and the answers seemed elusive. Little did anyone know, the worst was yet to come. Paul Bernardo was just getting started. His reign of terror was far from over. His crimes would soon escalate to a level of depravity that few could have imagined. The community's nightmare was only beginning, and the true horror of Paul Bernardo's actions was yet to be fully realized. June 15, 1991. A day forever etched in the annals of Canadian crime. 14-year-old Leslie Mahaffey was walking home from a friend's house. It was late, past her curfew. She never made it home. Her parents reported her missing. Their nightmare had just begun. Days turned into weeks. The search for Leslie captivated the nation. Hope dwindled with each passing hour. Then, the unthinkable. On June 29th, Leslie's dismembered remains were discovered. Encased in concrete. Dumped in Lake Gibson, a horrifying discovery that sent shockwaves across the country. The brutality of the crime was chilling. Leslie had been tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered. But who could have committed such a heinous act? The investigation intensified. Police were desperate for a break. They needed to find the person responsible for this unspeakable tragedy. The murder of Leslie Mahaffey cast a long shadow over the community. Fear and suspicion gripped the hearts of many. Parents kept their children close. The streets felt less safe. Life in Scarborough had irrevocably changed. Then, on April 16, 1992, tragedy struck again. 15-year-old Kristen French vanished. Last seen in the parking lot of her high school. A chilling echo of Leslie's disappearance. Could it be the same perpetrator? The community held its breath, hoping against hope that Kristen would be found safe. But deep down, a sense of dread prevailed. The police launched a massive search. Every resource was deployed. They were determined to find Kristen and bring her abductor to justice. The investigation into Kristen French's disappearance moved at a frantic pace. The community was gripped with fear and anxiety, hoping for a swift resolution. Police were working around the clock, tirelessly sifting through evidence and following up on every lead. Finally, a break. Witnesses came forward providing crucial information. They described a young couple in a car, a detail that would prove to be pivotal in the investigation. A car matching the description of one seen near Kristen's school was identified. This lead brought the police closer to the suspects. The couple, Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka. Their names would soon become infamous. Bernardo was no stranger to the police. He had been under investigation before, raising suspicions about his involvement in other crimes. He fit the profile of the Scarborough Rapist, a serial offender who had terrorized the area for years, but they lacked the evidence to charge him. The frustration among the detectives was palpable as they searched for more clues. Now, with Kristen's abduction, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The connections between the cases became clearer. The net was closing in. The police were determined to bring the perpetrators to justice. On January 17, 1993, Paul Bernardo was arrested. The arrest marked a significant milestone in the investigation. Charged with the murders of Leslie Mahaffey and Kristen French, the case against him was strong. The news sent shockwaves through the nation. People were horrified to learn about the true nature of the crimes. This seemingly ordinary young man was a monster in disguise. Neighbors and acquaintances were stunned by the revelations. His trial would be a media sensation, drawing attention from across the country and beyond. The details of his crimes, shocking and gruesome, were laid bare in court. The evidence presented was overwhelming. On September 1, 1995, Paul Bernardo was convicted on all charges. The jury's decision was unanimous. Sentenced to life in prison, he was also declared a dangerous offender, ensuring he would never be released. But the story was far from over. The investigation continued, as authorities sought to uncover the full extent of his crimes. Section 5. The Deal with the Devil, Karla Homolka's Plea. While Paul Bernardo awaited trial, a more disturbing truth emerged. His wife, Karla Homolka, was not an innocent bystander. She was an active participant in his crimes, a willing accomplice in the torture and murder of Leslie Mahaffey and Kristen French. Homolka struck a deal with the Crown. In exchange for her testimony against Bernardo, she would plead guilty to manslaughter in the deaths of Mahaffey and French. Sentenced to 12 years in prison. A controversial plea deal that sparked outrage across Canada. Many believed Homolka had gotten away with murder. The public was disgusted. How could someone who participated in such horrific acts receive such a lenient sentence? The Homolka deal became synonymous with injustice, a stain on the Canadian justice system. Section 6. A Nation's Outrage, the Homolka Tapes. If the public's anger over the Homolka plea deal was palpable, it was about to reach a fever pitch. After Bernardo's conviction, a bombshell, videotapes surfaced, tapes made by Bernardo and Homolka, graphic recordings of their crimes, evidence that revealed the true extent of Homolka's involvement. The tapes showed Homolka as an active participant in the torture and sexual assault of their victims, far from the remorseful victim she had portrayed herself to be. The public was horrified. The tapes were never shown publicly, but the details, leaked to the media, were enough to turn the tide of public opinion. The Homolka tapes ignited a firestorm of controversy. The Crown was accused of incompetence, of making a deal with the devil, of failing to bring Homolka to justice for her crimes. The outcry was deafening. Section 7 denied. The 2024 parole hearing. 29 years after his conviction, Paul Bernardo, now 60, had his third parole hearing. The date, November 26, 2024, the location Bath Institution, a maximum security prison in Ontario. The outcome, parole denied, no form of release granted. The hearing was a media circus. Reporters and camera crews camped outside the prison. Victims' families prepared to face the monster who had shattered their lives. Their victim impact statements, heartbreaking testaments to the enduring pain and suffering inflicted by Bernardo. Bernardo, for his part, expressed remorse. He blamed his crimes on childhood abuse. He claimed he was a changed man. The parole board didn't buy it. They deemed him an undue risk to society, a danger to women, a monster who could never be rehabilitated. Section 8, Transfer and Turmoil, a move to medium security, June 2023. Another controversy erupted. Paul Bernardo was transferred, moved from a maximum security prison in Ontario to a medium security institution in Quebec, La Macaza Institution, a facility known for its more relaxed environment. The news sparked outrage. Victims' families were furious. They felt betrayed by the correctional system. Politicians from all parties condemned the transfer, demanding answers, calling for a review of the decision-making process. The government defended the transfer. They claimed it was based on Bernardo's security classification, that he no longer posed a high risk. But the damage was done. The public's trust in the justice system was shaken. The transfer only served to remind everyone of the horror of Bernardo's crimes. Section 9, A Legacy of Evil, Bernardo's Enduring Impact. Paul Bernardo's crimes cast a long shadow over Canada. His heinous acts shocked the nation to its core, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. His name became synonymous with evil, a symbol of the darkest depths of human depravity, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. The suburban facade, once a symbol of safety, now tainted by the horrors he inflicted. His case had a profound impact on the Canadian justice system. It prompted a re-evaluation of legal procedures and policies, ensuring that such a monster could never exploit the system again, leading to changes in parole eligibility for dangerous offenders. The laws were tightened, making it harder for those convicted of heinous crimes to be released. The victims' families continued to live with the pain and loss, their lives forever altered by the unimaginable cruelty they endured, haunted by the memories of their loved ones. Each photograph a poignant reminder of the lives cut short and the futures stolen, their strength and resilience in the face of unimaginable tragedy, an inspiration to us all. They stand as a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and overcome. Paul Bernardo may be behind bars, his physical presence confined, but the psychological scars he left behind remain. But his legacy of evil lives on, a constant reminder of the potential for darkness within humanity. The debate over his parole, his prison conditions, and his potential for rehabilitation continues to rage. Society grapples with the balance between justice and mercy. A stark reminder that some wounds never truly heal. The pain and trauma inflicted by such evil can linger for generations. And some crimes are so horrific, they scar the soul of a nation forever, the collective memory of a country forever marked by the atrocities committed.